Om Namah Shivaya. Episode 10, Chapter 2, verses 54 to 72. The Man of Steady Wisdom. In verse 54, Arjuna asked a question. What are the characteristics of a man of steady wisdom, and how does he interact in this world? In other words, he is asking how to convert these two yogas, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, into steady wisdom. The rest of the verses from 55 to 72 are answers to this question. Universal values such as compassion, love, sympathy, giving are qualities we cultivate when we are students, when we are mumukshus, until we are fully established in Atma, until we are fully awakened to the fullness of Atma. However, even when we are awakened to the fullness of Atma, desires will still keep arising in our minds, but we do not pursue them. We continue doing our righteous duties without fear of the results. Number 2, our bodies will still be subject to the natural dualities of the world, like birth and death, pain and pleasure, gain and loss. However, when we keep contemplating upon Atma, these pairs of opposites have no hold on us. Thereby, there is no fear. And when there is no fear, there is no anger. Fear stands between desire and anger. And the only way to remove fear is to contemplate upon Atma, which is above duality. When there is no duality, there is no second thing to be afraid of. Thereby, fear disappears. Then we do not hate unpleasant situation. We remain the same in both pleasant and unpleasant situation. Just like a turtle, we withdraw our sense organs from sense objects. Our sense organs just report. Our eyes report what it sees. Our ears report what we hear. But when we are established in the knowledge of Brahman, Brahmastitihi, we remain undisturbed. This is not suppression. In suppression, the emotional value for that desire which is inside will blow up one day. But when we are steady in the knowledge of Brahman, when we have mastery over our desires, we have a vision to see that we are Satchit Ananda Atma, Samyak Darshana. For this we must be committed to Ishvara, Matparaha, by contemplating upon Ishvara from different aspects. We can see Ishvara as the creator of the universe, who by having Maya under his control, he creates, sustains and dissolves the universe without undergoing any change. We can see Atma from our intellect standpoint. Because of Atma's presence, we are able to contemplate upon Atma. And also from our mind standpoint. Because of Atma's presence, all our past karmic impressions in our subconscious mind, as they keep arising, we can analyze and remove them and purify our mind. So by contemplating in this manner, we gain mastery over our desires. We purify our mind and be established in the knowledge of Brahman. Tasya prashna pratishtita. Otherwise, we get destroyed. Now let's see how Arjuna got destroyed. The first fact is, from attachment comes desire. Arjuna was attached to his grandfather. So when he saw him on the opposite side, fear set in. So he desired not to do his duty. So from attachment came desire. The second part is from desire comes anger. Then he got angry with himself. In verse 45 of chapter 1, he said, "Fie upon us. Why did I agree to this war?" When we get angry, then our mind gets deluded. Once we are deluded, we lose our memory. Once our memory is lost, our mind gets incapacitated. When our mind gets incapacitated, we get destroyed. Then impulses takes over. The intensity of our desire determines the magnitude of our anger. But the idea is not to avoid anger by avoiding desire, but we must remove the stink. We must be realistic to know that everything cannot happen as we want. Everything is happening according to our prarabdha karma, which we brought forward to work out in this life. Arjuna must be a karma yogi. He was born a Kshatriya. He must do his duty to protect the law and order of the land. Disregard of who is standing on the opposite side, whether it is his beloved grandfather or his unrighteous cousins. In the same manner, we as karma yogis, we must interact in this world with pure intention to gain mastery of our body, mind, senses, to remove all binding desires, to become tranquil, prasadam. Prasadam is anything that comes from Ishvara. Being cheerful, being tranquil, being self-satisfied are all prasadam that keeps us tranquil. This is the whole psychology of the Gita. Total absence of agitation and self-dissatisfaction. When we are tranquil, we are ready for Jnana Yoga, to discover that absolute bliss is our nature by contemplating upon Atma. If we don't contemplate upon Atma, there is no peace. When there is no peace, there is no tranquility. Then we will be deluded. We will be contemplating on our sorrows, on our disappointments, on our regrets. Thereby we become destroyed. In verse 68, Sri Krishna sums up this chapter by referring to Arjuna as Mahabaho, mighty arm, that he must be well equipped with these two yogas, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, to be wise. Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga goes hand in hand. There is a mutual kinship between these two yogas. As a Karma Yogi, to the extent we are able to master and remove our desires, to that extent the knowledge of Brahman stays. Neutralizing our desires brings certain tranquility and cheerfulness. As tranquility and cheerfulness arises, the knowledge of Brahman becomes clear. As the knowledge of Brahman becomes clear, we become more tranquil and more cheerful. These two yogas are like the two wings of the bird. They take us towards moksha, towards wisdom. Verse 69 is an answer to the question in verse 54. The first part of the question, what are the characteristics of a man of steady wisdom? Sri Krishna says that the man of wisdom is happy with himself by himself. He don't have to fulfill his desires to be happy, because he has discovered that absolute bliss is his nature. So whether his desires are fulfilled or not, it is not going to increase or decrease his happiness. The second part of the question, how does he interact in this world? There is no problem. He interacts freely without any desires. As he is awakened and wise, Jagrati Samyami, he has discovered that he lacks nothing. He is Purna, Aham Purnaha. He knows that he is everything, yet transcendently free from everything. Aham idam sarvam. However, the ignorant cannot understand the wise. It is like day and night, they do not meet. What is day for the ignorant is night for the wise. What is night for the ignorant is day for the wise. To understand a Mahatma, we must be Mahatma. Because the wise, they have the Viveka to differentiate between Atma and Anatma. Their duties are done as dharma, as an offering to Ishvara. Whereas the ignorant don't even understand what is Atma. They take the Anatma to be real. And also the ignorant do not do their duties as an offering to Ishvara. They do it for their own personal gain. That is why they say the wise and the ignorant are like day and night. They do not meet. Verse 70, Sri Krishna describes the mind of the wise to that of an ocean. And he uses two adjectives. The first one is apuryamana, always full. The ocean is always filled with water to its brim. It does not depend on water from any source, not even from the rain. And even when the sun evaporates its water, it is still filled to its brim. In the same manner, when we are jnana yogis, when we are awakened to the fullness of Atma, our happiness is not going to increase or decrease because our desires has been fulfilled or not. We remain filled with absolute bliss, regardless of whatever desires that may arise in our minds. Number 2, the word is achala pratishta, firmly established. The bed of the ocean is firm, it is steady, whereas the surface of the ocean, there are waves. Sometimes there are waves, sometimes there are huge breakers, and sometimes the ocean surface is tranquil. In the same manner, when we are wise, when we are firmly established in dharma, righteousness, when we are karma yogis, doing our duties righteously to the law of dharma, we are like the ocean bed, very steady. At the same time, at our mind level, desires will still be arising. So we can sometimes smile at these desires like small waves, we just smile at it. Sometimes the huge breakers, we can let out a huge laughter. And when the wise are not smiling or laughing, they remain tranquil. They just allow these desires to rise and subside without being affected. This is how the wise interact in this world, not affected by whatever desires appear in their mind. By contemplating and chanting this verse, we can establish ourselves in this wisdom. So let's chant this verse. Om Apuryamanam Achala Pratishtam Samudramapa Pravishanti Yadvat Tatvat kamayam pravishanti sarve shashanti mapnoti na kama kami. Om. The last two verses summarizes the character of a man of steady wisdom. Even when we become wise, our prarabdha karma still continues. So the man of wisdom still continues interacting in this world, doing his righteous duties as an offering to the law of dharma. Just like Adi Shankara and Sri Krishna did their duties without a sense of doership and continued to be Satchit Ananda Atma. Being wise, we are not deluded. We have no binding desires. We have no longing. We have no sense of I-ness, no ego sense. Nirmamo nirahankara. As we have gained peace, shanti, sa shantim adhigacchati. This is what is meant to be a man of steady wisdom, who is not deluded. He continues being liberated until his prarabdha karmas get fully exhausted. Then he drops his body and becomes one with Brahman. This is how these two yogas lead us to liberation. Chapter 2 is a summary of the entire Gita given at the beginning. From now on, we will be doing detailed study of these three yogas. Chapters 3, 4 and 5 are external karma yogas meant to purify our mind. Chapter 6 is meditation. It is an internal karma yoga to steady our mind. So having purified and steadied our mind, then we are ready for Jnana Yoga. Chapters 7 to 12 are Jnana Yoga, telling us that we are not this body, mind, senses, we are Satchit Ananda Atma. And chapters 13 to 17 are Vijnana Yoga, how to convert these two yogas into wisdom. And chapter 18 is a summary of the entire Gita given at the end of our study. So this is how the 18 chapters of the Gita takes us systematically from ignorance to liberation. The summary of chapter 3 will be given in 3 weeks. Till then, keep contemplating and doing our actions according to the law of dharma. So till then, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.